Next on Worcester News Tonight, could plastic bags be banned in Worcester? Well, Worcester City councilors and community members think about the issue. Plus, as Hurricane Dorian travels up the East Coast, a Worcester woman is still waiting to hear from family in the Bahamas. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Anna Botari. Single-use plastic bags are used at a lot of stores in Worcester, but Worcester is considering eliminating them, joining several other towns in central Massachusetts. And it's a move city councilors could vote on in the near future. Our Cam Jandro is live in Worcester tonight with those details. Cam?
Anna, plastic bags are a really interesting topic in the city of Worcester right now. Just a few weeks ago, they were looking to institute clear plastic recycling bags. Now they're looking to potentially ban single-use plastic bags, very similar to the ones you get in your grocery store. Now, I talked to a few shoppers today, and they say they could live without these bags.
You can find plastic bags at almost every grocery store in Worcester. A potential ban on single-use bags was on the City Council's agenda Tuesday night, but the vote was delayed for a second time.
So we have to try to strike a balance like we try to do in many issues, not to harm one side while we're trying to help the other.
City Councilor Mo Bergman filed the order. Bergman says the city is looking for a balance on what should and shouldn't be banned.
There's also a reality that a lot of people rely on those plastic bags, particularly elderly and those that have some physical weaknesses. They're much easier to use the two-handle plastic than the paper.
Shoppers at this store Wednesday used a mix of paper and plastic, but for many, reusable bags is how they're addressing the issue.
And I drive cashiers crazy because I know it's kind of a burden on the cashiers in the store, but I usually bring my reusable bags. It's a big concern for me.
It's not expensive. It's not, cumbersome for people to do. All you have to do is get a few bags, keep them in your car, and you're good to go.
Nicole Redmond says she's had reusable bags for the last 10 years. She points to climate change as a concern, saying plastic is just adding to it.
Anytime that we can help to contribute to help save the planet or clean it up, that's a good thing.
It does harm. It's not biodegradable, so it's causing problems to the environment.
Nearby towns like Grafton and Shrewsbury have already eliminated the single-use bags. Bergman is asking the city manager to look at the bill now before the state legislature, which does allow the use of some plastic.
I think there's an opportunity with the state regulations to try to make Worcester's regulations not any more severe than the state's.
Now, the item will go in front of the City Council again at their September 17th meeting. They are expecting a vote sometime that night. In Worcester, I'm Cam Jandro, Worcester News Tonight.
Worcester has a long-standing history with the LGBTQ community, and tonight people got a chance to hear about it. The Worcester Historical Museum hosted a presentation about LGBTQ history through the eyes and voices of those who lived through it. Author Eric Marcus and Holy Cross professor Stephanie Yule interviewed people who were a part of the LGBTQ civil rights movement in the city. Yule says being able to get the people to open up and tell their stories, good and bad, was fascinating.
Has been the oral histories. We have an oral history project that's part of it because people hold on to those stories, and so the gratitude when people share their stories, and some of these stories are really difficult. There's stories of gay bashing, there's stories of rejection, but there's also stories of celebration and triumph and love. So those have been really moving.
Tomorrow's Pride event is a tour through Worcester showing the LGBTQ history at 5 p.m. at the Worcester Pop-Up. A new poll shows people moving out of Boston are more likely to look to Providence over Worcester. Realtor.com released a report tracking where residents are looking to move and where they move from. The Boston metro area gets the most looks from Worcester area residents with 22% of all searches. But when it comes to people in Boston, 11% of the searches are for Providence and a little more than 8% are for Worcester. The data collected was from the first quarter of the year. A Worcester woman is keeping close tabs on the devastation caused by Hurricane Dorian in the Bahamas. She has family there and is still waiting to hear from some of them. Our Chandler Walsh spoke with her today and has the story.
Shanice Pinder is keeping tabs on her family affected by Hurricane Dorian through videos like these. Here, one of her relatives drives through a flooded street in the Bahamas.
Communication has been intermittent with them, so far we have very little information.
The 26-year-old moved to Worcester several years ago. She grew up in Nassau and has family and friends there and in the Abaco Islands.
Everybody's just trying to mobilize and get people situated in, the safest areas possible so far, because there is a lot of flooding, there is a lot of structural damage, and I think everyone's priority right now is to just be safe.
Pinder says Abaco and Grand Bahama were hit the hardest. Her cousins Chantel and Brittany Pinder and Halisha McIntosh are missing.
We were kind of like being hopeful, saying, once we get phone service up, we should be able to get in contact with them. And I was kind of like thinking along that they would be okay until last night when, I had family reach out and say, no, like we actually can't find them.
She's holding out hope her cousins are safe and sound. Pinder is also having trouble processing the death toll. There have been 7 confirmed deaths, a number expected to rise.
We were hoping that everybody would make it out, but over the course, you just knew that people wouldn't and they couldn't.
Pinder says Bahamians are resilient and prepared, but weren't expecting this much destruction.
Like getting videos and voice notes and phone calls of people in distress and swimming, and I've never seen anything like it.
Pinder is encouraging others to help with hurricane relief. She recommends donating to foundations like the Head Knolls, the Bahamas Red Cross, and the Bahamas Consulate. Chandler Walsh, Worcester News Tonight. Shelters across the state are taking in cats and dogs impacted by the hurricane. Staff from the Second Chance Animal Shelter in North Brookfield left Massachusetts Monday for Delaware with crates for evacuated pets. Second Chance brought back 17 cats from Hilton Head, South Carolina. The shelters say they need to be quarantined for 48 hours, but will be available for adoption in a matter of days.
These animals were sitting in a shelter there, and they want to get the animals out of the shelter there so that there's space to take in animals that are going to be temporarily displaced because of the storms. It's always hard for people that are in, kind of in the path of these sort of storms to find a place for their pet as well as get themselves out of there.
Always, yeah. If the hurricane has a major impact, Second Chance says this may just be the first of more transport trips. A fatal pedestrian accident on Lincoln Street is under investigation. Worcester police say an SUV struck a 61-year-old man on Lincoln Street Tuesday night. He was pronounced dead Wednesday. Lieutenant Sean Murtha says it appears 2 men were walking in the crosswalk when a black SUV struck one of the men.
There's a crosswalk there, and there were 2 males crossing, and a car came up, apparently didn't see him, swerved at the last minute, and hit one of the males in the crosswalk. Paramedics were close by. They were on scene before we were, so they were taking care of him medically. He was transported to the hospital, where unfortunately he was pronounced deceased the next morning.
The driver stopped to help the victim. Lieutenant Murtha says no charges have been filed yet. The cause is still under investigation. Administrators in Charlton are working to restore the town government's computer network. They say it was attacked with malicious software Friday. The hack led to frozen documents, emails, and main servers. The town alerted the FBI and their insurer, but say as of right now, it appears no personal information has been copied or removed. A topping off ceremony at South High School represents a final step in the construction process. City, state, and school leaders gathered at the construction site of the new high school today to celebrate the future of it. Our Gretchen LaRosa was at today's ceremony and has more.
Progress is being made on the construction of the new South High Community School.
This is a $209 million project. This is the future of Worcester.
The last beam was added to the foundation of the building early Wednesday. The special white beam has signatures of all the elected leaders who helped move the project forward.
When I came into office, I said I'm going to build 3 new high schools, which was a lot. And the city management very supportive because there's a lot of money involved here and a lot of competing interests.
The beam also represents a high level of success for the builders, showing the project is on track.
This is a sign that the work that the city manager and the school committee and the city council say they're doing, and the mayor for Worcester they're doing, and here's the proof of it.
Now Superintendent Maureen Benenda worked at South High as a principal for almost her entire career. She says the tradition of this ceremony is perfect for the new and improved South High.
And South High has always had a rich history of immigrants, and here is this tradition from Scandinavia brought over here that represents tree and life and hope.
The doors are not expected to open to students for another 2 years. South High graduate and current principal Jeffrey Creamer says he is counting down the days.
I'm thrilled to be back at South, and especially moving into such a state-of-the-art facility. Our students at South High deserve the best, and that's what Superintendent Benenda is going to provide them.
In the meantime, South High students will continue to use the current building here on Apricot Street. The former high school opened its doors in 1978, over 40 years ago. In Worcester, Gretchen LaRosa, Worcester News Tonight.
A free symposium in Worcester will discuss substance use prevention, treatment, and recovery. The Overdose Prevention Fund was founded by a group of emergency physicians and medical toxicologists from UMass Memorial Medical Center 3 years ago. The group is looking to help prevent overdoses and says a symposium like this will allow people who are struggling to get the information and resources they need.
We're also going to be interacting and talking to people that come to our event to find out what they're looking for in the community, what may be missing, and how else the Overdose Prevention Fund can help out.
The symposium is Thursday night from 5 to 9 p.m. at St. George Orthodox Cathedral in Worcester. For more information, you can visit their Facebook page, Overdose Prevention Fund.